Welcome to a holiday Thanksgiving edition of Hotter Than Health. This episode will be relevant to you. I can 9 out of 10 guarantee that. We're going to get into this week's episode in just a minute because a couple of things for housekeeping and then a quick little update. And then we're going to be talking all about caffeine and coffee and matcha and hunger pains and frustration and stress and how all of those things correlate. I hope everyone's having an amazing week. It's Tuesday. I'm pre-recording this episode because we are heading out of town to go visit family in Florida for the holidays. It's my first ever anything holiday in Florida and very excited for it. We're going to get some sunshine in. We're going to meet some family. We're going to hopefully get outside because I think it's going to be like 70 something degrees in Florida. We're very excited. Now, before we get into all the juicy details of today's episode, I wanted to give a quick reminder that if you have not already gone on to Apple Podcasts, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, thank you, by the way, for tuning in. Head over to Apple Podcasts. It's the little purple app on your phone. Maybe you're listening to it now, and click follow or subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and leave us a review if you can. It takes all of 25 seconds, and it's genuinely the most amazing way for people to keep finding Hotter Than Health amongst all other nutrition and health podcasts. It's a great way for it to pop up organically. If you've gotten any value, that would be great to leave in the review. And if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you have hit follow. That's great. Okay. Thank you in advance for all of that. And also, if you have already done all of that and you're like, hey, what can I possibly do to help? It would be awesome. Take a screenshot, share it on your social media. Let me know you're listening. Let me know you're tagged. And we'll repost on the Hotter Than Health podcast Instagram or on ElizaG_wellness. Today's episode, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about how to make your coffee/caffeine work more for you. And we have talked about this on other episodes, but the reason it's pertinent now is because during this time of year, especially during this week, we have a lot of people that might be out of routine. And when you're out of routine, your body is in a minor state of fight or flight, whether you are actually flying, whether you're traveling, maybe you're at home. Typically, you're off of your normal regimen, and that can lead to different eating patterns. It can lead to different types of cravings. It can lead to stress, which again can affect the way you eat and the way caffeine might affect you. And you might be staying up later. You might be having more alcohol, or you might be having more sugar. Things are just different. And if you can use one grounding piece of knowledge to help balance and regulate your morning with something that you already love, which is coffee or caffeine or tea or matcha, this is going to help, I do believe, keep you in a more regulated state with balanced blood sugar levels, less stress, better sleep at night, when in the past you may be thinking of this time of year as something that might throw you off of your game. Trust me, when you include family dynamics, or whether or not you're going to be with family or you're traveling at all, maybe you're just kicking it low key, still timing and your scheduling might still be off. But anytime you throw any other family dynamics into the mix, you're surrounded by your crazy aunts and uncles who, oh my God, we were just talking about this the other day. You have that aunt that will kiss you on the cheek, or someone in your family that will kiss you on the cheek, but it's like right next to your ear. It's the upper cheek area, and they have wet lips. They kiss you on the cheek, and it's so loud, and it almost like, oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard, and you're like, oh, I love you so much, but oh my God, they kiss inside your mouth or inside your ear, and they just go, and it's that. Oh, if you know it, you know it. And if you have that aunt, I'm so sorry. Peace be with you this time of year. Just get through it. You got this. Brace yourself. Brace for impact. Maybe you go in for just got back from you're up and you do the double kiss on the cheeks. Oh, I am bracing for that. I'm also meeting a bunch of people that I'm also meeting people for the first time, and if, oh man, I wonder what they say about me. No, I don't. But if we got some ants that are kissing like that, then you really just brace for impact, and then understand that has nothing to do with their character, more to just do with their wet lips. It is okay. We will get through it together. Before we, it's so obnoxious when people say, "Oh, before we get into today's episode, before we get into today's episode, here we are." I, I know I've said it 10 times. It's pouring rain in Charlotte. I'm loving it right now. It's chilly, it's bitter cold, but you know what I did last night that I have not done? Well, I've done it twice this past month, and it's amazing. Something that I have not done since I was, I don't know, in middle school or high school, or if I was on vacation or out in another, on an island or wherever, you're on a trip and you're leisurely doing this. We went swimming for exercise. I know that some people think, well, duh, yeah, swimming is a great workout. Yeah, it is. But when was the last time you drove somewhere, got in a pool with goggles, and went for a swim for exercise? Oh my God. It was incredible. Y'all know I'm obsessed with zone 2 training, cardio training right now because it just burns fat, doesn't burn muscle, it's lower impact, great for your overall longevity, and overall it makes you enjoy cardio more. And so we went to this place where a bunch of swimmers go. It's uptown Charlotte's the Mecklenburg Aquatic Center, and a lot of people swim there. And I went as a guest. It was like $5 to go as a guest. And I went in and I thought, this is going to be weird. I'm not a great, I mean, I'm a fine swimmer, but I don't think my form is great. I'm not in there seriously. I'm not trying to Michael Phelps it and have like, oh, tell me how I can cup my hands better so that I could do a better freestyle. I don't really care. I went in there just to swim, but it was awesome because they have this hot tub that you get in first to relax your muscles. And then I said, screw it. I was in a bikini. Everyone else was in their Speedo one pieces, and everyone looked great. They had their shower caps on, or their hair caps on. They had their other goggles. They were spitting in their goggles. Everything was fine. I was stopping in the middle of the of the lane. Of course, everyone else around me is nonstop swimming. They're doing the flip turns, and I am a tadpole. I am baby frog, breaststroking the whole time, loving life. And yeah, you get in, it's a little cold, but as soon as you start moving, it really was therapeutic. It's one of those workouts that you feel so good and like you just worked. And by the way, we were in and out in 40 minutes. That includes changing time, rinsing off time, toweling off time, warm up time. You swim for 20 minutes, medium to slow pace, nonstop, and you really get an amazing workout. You're not sore, you aren't uncomfortable, you can go as slow as you want, and oh my God, if you have kids who are in swim practice and you can go swim for 15 minutes, because kids, this is a tangent, I understand, but kids' swim practices are like 30 minutes if you're really young, because kids aren't going to be in the pool that long. They don't have attention spans longer than 30 minutes. They're 30 minutes. Maybe you go in and you do that with them. Or, oh my God, it was the best, most low impact, but phenomenal workout that I've done in a really long time, and like low risk of injury. It just felt really good. So highly recommend if there's a pool near you, or if you are in a little bit of a rut. We had a wellness episode last week, and it was all about, are you in a wellness rut? Maybe if you want to mix things up, or you're really into your cardio and you just feel like you want to get to another level and mix up the way that you're doing cardio. And also, okay, here's what I don't understand, and I'm vexed. And then I'm the worst. And then we will get into today's episode about caffeine. But the asses of swimmers, men and women, mostly women. I was walking, look, I tried to avert my eyes. I kept the goggles on the whole time so that I didn't look like a crazy creep in a bikini, like jumping around, using all the toys, just in the hot tub, blah, blah, blah. I was wearing a beach outfit in this concrete box of a swim area. But the asses on these swimmers are unbelievable. And I'm walking around like, I work out and I think that I have, I have a strong physique. I've got muscles, and I feel fine. But the asses are insanity. And if you're a swimmer, just know I'm proud of you. And I was staring at your ass at the pool yesterday. And these women are walking around and they just look so strong and they look so fit. The butts were out of this world. But here's why I'm confused. When I'm in there, yes, I'm kicking my legs, and if I'm doing breaststroke, I'm doing the frog, the tadpole legs. I don't understand how you get that much of a butt workout with swimming. I'm more upper body, or at least full body. I don't understand how you're getting that much glute growth. Maybe maybe swim workouts are more strength based outside of the pool, and that's how they're getting their asses. But whatever you're doing, if you're a swimmer, send me one of your workouts. Message me on Instagram. I respond back. If anyone was asking about the recipes from a couple weeks ago, then I definitely sent those out. Like, I will respond. And if you have an ass workout that can get my ass to look like a swimmer without having to do as much upper body as those swimmers do, then let your girl know. It was a sight. It was a sight. It motivated me. I wanted to flip around. I was underwater trying to mermaid and like bounce from the bottom. And then I got a toe cramp and I had to go. And then I had to shower. Anywho, swimming. 2024, the year that she swims. And she swam. And she swam. All right. Shall we? In today's episode, we are going to be talking all about coffee and how to make it work for you, not against you. And when you might hear this and say, oh, I know she's just going to talk about wait 90 minutes after you wake up, blah, 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 blah. Look, the amount of hate that I get from people and it's not ever that they say, oh, that's a dumb idea. They just say, oh, okay. And then they just think that I'm an idiot. And they're like, oh, well, I'm never going to do that. So thank you for your feedback, but I will never be doing that. Great. That's fine. But also, if you're complaining about being tired throughout the day, and if you're complaining about having a slow metabolism or not being able to sleep at night or having to have multiple cups of coffee and then you're jittery, then fine, don't take my advice, but please stop complaining. Okay, here's what we've got. Yes, in an ideal world, when you drink your coffee, you don't want that to be necessarily the very first thing on your stomach in the morning. You have been dehydrated. Let's say you sleep for 8 hours. You're not drinking or eating in the middle of the night. Maybe you are, but majority of the time you aren't eating or drinking. So you're in a fasted state in the morning. You have a blank slate, a blank canvas. If you have basically this fresh reset body that has just been in a fasted state, clearing up any dead cells, letting your brain go through that cellular cleaning or the cleaning of your brain, giving your body that break, the first thing you want to do is hydrate it, not zap it with a fly swatter. You know those electric fly zappers? That is what I think of when I think of just having jet fuel that goes straight to your gut when you first wake up, without electrolytes, without water, without a greens juice, something that is going to set a base. That is, I'm not saying that you're doing everything wrong, but if you want to enhance and optimize, this would be a great opportunity to stop what you're doing, get out of the monkey mind that says, okay, pour coffee, chug coffee, oh my God, not working, and then keep chugging coffee throughout the morning, and then by the time you leave the house, you've poured your third cup and you're on your way. Maybe you get ready for work, you have a cup, and then while you kind of get your breakfast ready and everything for the day or your lunch, then you have another cup, and then you pour a second or a third on your way to work. This is where this comes into play. Because at a certain point, that caffeine is going to hit a wall and it's not going to work for you anymore. When you wake up, what you would want to do is start the day with 16, I'm saying 16 because in an ideal world, it'd be 32 ounces, but you don't need to chug 32 ounces if you aren't used to drinking a lot of water. One of my friends, she's one of my best friends. I've known her since freshman year of high school, and she sometimes says that she goes an entire day without drinking water. Sometimes she's like, oh yeah, I had a glass, or she says that she doesn't want to drink water because she doesn't want to get up from her seat and go pee all day long. Totally get all those logistical reasons, but we all look at her and we're like, how? Because she has the most amazing skin, she has no pores, she's just stunning, gorgeous, has so much energy, and I don't understand how she operates. But in an ideal world, you would wake up with about, let's just call it 16 ounces of water, put some electrolytes in there. And if you don't want to buy fancy electrolytes, don't worry about brands. Don't worry about spending all this money and doing all the best things. Put a couple cracks of pink Himalayan sea salt in the night before. It'll be in your water. It will have dissolved. You won't taste it. And it will add a nice little bit of electrolytes. You get the potassium, the sodium. You don't get the sugar that you do get in some other electrolyte profiles, but overall, it's better than nothing. You're still getting some of those rich minerals in your in your water. So you would have that. Then you might wait a couple of minutes. Oh my God, is this not recording? I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, it is. But you would do that, wait a couple of minutes. Let's say you've been up now for 10 minutes. And then if you're really trying to crush it, maybe we just do one of these things, but if you could do both of these things, that would be even more ideal. You would pour 8 to 16 ounces of water again, mix in some Organifi greens juice. And look, I know, you probably are like, okay, she talks about the Organifi greens juice all the time. We get it, fast forward. This is a really phenomenal way to start your day. Of course, you can, yes, I am sponsored by them, but I also use my own discount code during the holidays to buy gifts for other people. It's code HTH for 20% off. They're also doing a deal on the red juice bundle if you want something for pre-workout or if you want something for more energy. But the greens juice, the apple, is my absolute favorite. If you can order the travel packets, it's ideal, but Organifi.com/HTH or Organifi.com, just use the code HTH and you get 20% off. I would be buying this if I was not sponsored as well. I do buy this. But I would do some greens juice. And again, you don't have to do a full scoop. It'll last longer for you. I do half a scoop in 8 to 12 ounces in the morning, mix it all up. And then I go about and do some extra things, like maybe I'll stretch, maybe I'll just move around or get my bag ready. Maybe I'll do my Duolingo or a journal or whatever. And then I will do coffee. And at that point, it's been about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. It is the best way to start your morning. This might sound redundant. I know I've said this before, but here's what's happening. You are allowing your body. Okay, here's an analogy for you all. When you wake up, your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, is at its highest. I've said this before, but here we are again. It bears to be repeated. It stands to be repeated. You wake up, your cortisol levels, which is your stress, fight or flight hormone, is at its highest naturally, that's good. That's part of evolution. That's what we need. But it's at its highest. So imagine a full cup. If you pour caffeine, let's say caffeine is the very first thing you do in the morning, within the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and that is the same as pouring caffeine or pouring more stress hormones, more caffeine, more stimulation into that already full cup, meaning it's going to overflow. It means it's no longer working efficiently for you. If you wait a little bit, let's say 30 minutes, you have your water and you have your greens juice, maybe some minerals, it literally adds 5 minutes to your day, 2 minutes to your day. And you're getting more hydration. You are getting your minerals. You are starting your belly. You're getting your gut a base of something that isn't just acidic. You are essentially allowing that full cup that you woke up with of stress hormone, you're allowing that to come down a little bit so that when you do pour into that cup, there is empty space that needs to be filled, which means that the caffeine is working more efficiently for you. And I was working in a class a couple weeks ago, maybe last month. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago. And there was a dietitian sitting next to me, and I said, "What do you think about this analogy? I'd love to get your feedback on it." She said, "Yep." And she said that's a really great way to put it. And she was even a dietitian, and she doesn't do this, but because it's her job to know about these things, but she has her own process, and it made me feel very validated because obviously I didn't go to school for dietetics, but it made me feel pretty good that I had her informally sign off on this. But if you can think about starting your day, allowing the caffeine to work more efficiently for you. Now let's talk about taking this to the next level. Let's say you're like, okay, I can wait 25 to 30 minutes and have some hydration and easy minerals before my coffee. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. But then it doesn't really make that big of a difference throughout the day. Maybe that's your mindset. Let's take it one step further. By adding a teaspoon of GHEE, which is clarified butter, which has, by the way, no flavor. By adding some clarified butter, which is a really great pure source of fat, or adding a little scoop of collagen protein, regular protein powder, some type of protein, not even a full scoop, maybe something like 10 grams. Collagen blends pretty easily. Organifi also has a really great collagen with zero flavor, but it's not vegan, but it is really great, but I love their protein as well. By adding some protein or ghee, clarified butter, or even coconut oil, but if you're trying to get away from saturated fats, I'm going to let you choose and you can experiment, be your own guinea pig. But I have recommended people who want to fast, I say, hey, if we're trying to just get your blood sugar to stay regulated, let's skip straight to ghee, see how you feel. And then if you want to move forward into protein, awesome. But if you're someone who's really working to get more protein in your diet and you don't want to have massive meals, you don't want to eat a bunch of meat throughout the day, you're not a big snacker, this is a great way to get started. Having a bit of protein in the coffee, having a bit of ghee in the coffee. What this is going to do is, one, it's going to give you more sustained and prolonged energy. The fats and or protein will slow down the digestion and absorption of other foods, other drinks, essentially slowing down the absorption of the caffeine. Not saying that it's not going to absorb and it'll be a really slow and steady incline. It will be a slow and steady incline, but not so slow that you won't be able to feel the effects of it. But by adding the fats to your coffee, you are slowing down the absorption of the caffeine into your system, which is going to naturally prolong its effects. And you can think of the benefits of this would be the coffee working more efficiently for you, the more bang for your buck, and you can do some of this just in the morning. This can slow down the way that you drink the coffee. You might think, oh, well, I'm feeling pretty good now. You won't necessarily even think about that next cup. And if you do end up pouring that second cup right away like you normally do, maybe you don't drink at all. What this is also going to do is, like we said, when the fats in your coffee help to slow down the absorption of the caffeine, it might actually help to also prevent a sharp spike in your insulin and your blood sugar, because when we talked about coconut oil or grass-fed butter, it will act as almost a slowdown and a pause button to any of the blood sugar that is going wild within your bloodstream. This is going to naturally help, because what we don't want is our blood sugar to be going on a roller coaster all day long. And by starting the day with just coffee, maybe you add in some flavor during this time of year. Maybe you have a pumpkin spice, maybe you have a peppermint mocha, maybe whatever it is, or you add some sugar or honey, or maple syrup, then you're starting your day on that. Your blood sugar is going to be at the top of that roller coaster. Then an hour and a half later, 2 hours, it dips back down. It must come back down. Whereas the fat is going to make it it's going to be like a very slow, it's like the spinning teacups for the kids, as opposed to the drop zone effect. And this is really, really beneficial to help curb sugary cravings, super starchy, quick carb cravings. And what's really happening when your blood sugar is spiking up and down like that is your body, when it gets really tired and crashes, it's going to crave quick sources of energy, meaning either more coffee, more sugar, or more quick carbohydrates. And this is a vicious cycle. However, if you are in the spinning teacups and it's going a little bit slower and the absorption is more easy, steady, that is when you are going to be more compelled to make solid, balanced choices in your snacking. That's definitely what I have seen. There's also some benefits to having some of that fat in your gut, and there's some studies that have shown that coffee, yes, it can be very acidic. So adding in a little band of protection with the ghee, the clarified butter, it can really be protective for your gut lining. And if you've ever heard of something called leaky gut, or like having an inflamed gut and you're not able to fully absorb nutrients, or maybe you have like explosive diarrhea, whatever that is, it's a great option to support the gut. It's not something, oh, it's immediately going to heal, but it is a nice layer and adds some protection to your gut. Oh, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. And there is also support for having protein in the coffee, because protein will also help to slow down the absorption of the caffeine. It doesn't necessarily it hasn't been as researched to show that it might help support the gut, but it definitely will help in balancing and maintaining blood sugar levels, having that sustained and prolonged energy. The reason why I believe this is important to discuss at this time is because while we travel, while we're in, let's say, even for me, for example, I'll be staying in someone else's house for the next 3 nights. And we'll be having different food. Maybe they have different scented candles. Maybe there's different cleaning products. Maybe it's simply just being around a lot more energy that I'm not used to. Things change. We wake up at different times. Maybe we'll sleep in a couple hours later. Maybe we'll go to bed a little bit later. Maybe we have alcohol. Maybe there's just pie and we have sugar. If I have some alcohol and then I wake up the next morning, even if I'm not necessarily hungover, or if I only had 2 drinks, 2 glasses of wine, whatever it is, then I still don't feel top notch. And even if I have 1 or 2 drinks, I still feel that sense of anxiety, or that sense, oh, okay, for some reason, I'm a little more on edge this morning and I don't feel 100%. Even if I still feel 90%, which is great, I still want to feel 100%. If I do not add some type of fat or protein to my coffee when I'm in that state, if I've had any alcohol, then it makes anxiety 10 times worse. And during this time of year, I know that we have more tendencies to move towards stress. There's travel. There's financial stress. We're spending, even if we say gifts aren't important, like it always ends up being about that in some situations, or at least it seems like that. And every year I'm like, everyone's getting a book. I don't want it to be about gifts. I don't want gifts. I don't want any of this. But it ends up, oh, well, we're going to this person, so we need to get them a housewarming gift. You do that 3 or 4 times, or you go bake. All of the little things add up, and I know that those things can be stressful. Or maybe it's just packing for you. Maybe you're going and you're meeting the in-laws, or you're meeting your partner's parents for the first time. There's new dynamics, new foods, new everything. Having some way to ground yourself within your own morning routine to reduce against any type of external stress by calming your internal stress, I believe is such a phenomenal way to move through your day in a really calm, practical, level-headed state. Because the worst thing in the world is being around a group that you don't know that well and being starving, or you're going hypoglycemic and you're like, I need food. Oh my God, I'm going to pass out. And then you're dehydrated. And then you have a cup of coffee to fix all of that. And then you have explosive diarrhea, and you're in someone else's house. I'm not speaking from experience, but I do know that this has happened in the past. Anywho, I wanted to have this conversation because it's pertinent, it's relevant. I know we've talked about it before, but there's nothing like a little recap of something that is hella valuable. May I also say, and no, there's no kickback for this. One thing, and this is something we have done as we're heading out of town to be with family, we're bringing each house that we go to a little gift. And I thought, okay. And so here's what I did. This is on another subject, obviously. What I did was I took a page from Seth Cohen's Chrismukkah Bar Mitzvah book. If you watch the OC, if you're a 90s baby and you watched the OC, or maybe even late 80s, you watched the OC and, we loved Seth Cohen, we loved Ryan, Marissa. I said Marissa's in Chino. But what I did was I made duplicate gifts with complementary colorings or accessories. So I went on Amazon, I bought a bunch of white, big gift bags. I think I spent $12 on gift bags and tissue paper so that I can wrap all my gifts myself. And then I got, holiday colored twine and gold and such. And then what I got was, we go to this coffee shop called Giddy Goat in Charlotte, and we absolutely love it. Great coffee, love it. Great empanadas if you've never tried them. It's in Plaza Midwood. But we know that as a housewarming gift, we bought them a bag of coffee from our favorite coffee shop so that they got a little taste of Charlotte, and we knew that they would love it because they love coffee. And then we also got them these table topics. There are these topic cards, and they ask either really obscure questions, thought-provoking questions. We use them at work. We're obsessed. I have one at my own house that's about relationships. It's like, what is the best thing about me? Or like, if you could go on one vacation with me and money wasn't an object, where would you go and what would you do? They're super fun, thought-provoking, and they're great for, especially if you don't know everyone, and it levels the playing field, and it allows you to really see how people operate. So one question on here I can see on the back, it says, what was your favorite car? What was it? What was your favorite car of the past 3 decades? And just those kinds of things, because you might think like, oh, Saab 9.3, no question, smelled like crayons, they don't even make it anymore. Or it could be Escalade. Honestly, when the Escalade came out, I was like, look, things are changing for me. I'm not an Escalade girl. But then you think some people are going to be Tesla people. I drive a Prius. I'm definitely still a Toyota girl. Some people are going to be a Volkswagen. Some people are going to be an Aston Martin. You just never know how these people are going to react, what kind of questions, and they have different themes. But yeah, I got matching gifts for each house, but with a little bit different questions on each thing, and like some different flavors of the coffee and a different coffee mug just from Target. But I think they'll love them. Anywho, what a chaotic episode, but I hope you got some value out of this. It has been awesome. I'm super happy for this time of year. We just booked a big fat trip, and we'll be talking more about that as we go. I hope everyone has an amazing Thanksgiving, and if you don't know and you're still listening, I am so thankful for anyone still listening, any new listeners, and all that you have done to support the podcast over the past 6-7 years. This is our 6th Thanksgiving together, and I could not be more grateful for the community, the questions, the feedback, and all that we have gone through together. Y'all have heard me through every single good and bad over the last 6 years, and this podcast would be absolute shit and nowhere without you all. Anything I could ever do to improve, love your feedback, want to make this the best listening and informational experience for you. I hope everyone is safe, everyone has fun, enjoy the food, enjoy the fam, keep grounded, and I will talk to you all next Thursday. Yeah.